So welcome everyone. My name is Tara Healey, and I am the director of Mind the Moment, the mindfulness program for Point32 Health at Harvard Pilgrim and Tufts Health Plan come under that umbrella. This is our Thursday morning gathering, and we started doing these back around the pandemic. So if this is your first time, I just want to extend a warm welcome to you. These sessions are fully guided, usually about 12 minutes or so. I do allow for periods of silence throughout those 12 minutes. And then we save time at the end for Q&A. So I would ask you to go ahead and open up the chat. And while I'm doing this as well, and go to the drop-down menu and select everyone. I'll just put a little hello in there. Because this is webinar format, we can communicate with each other using chat. So we save time at the end for questions, for comments, for sharing a resource, so a book or an app. Nice to see the hellos this morning. And in the past, we have started these with a check-in question. But lately, I have felt like I wanted to transition to something else and kicking it off with a poem or a quote or a passage that feels meaningful and connects us in and actually is a way for us to begin practice. So I'm going to start with a poem by Wendell Berry, and it's called The Peace of Wild Things. And it might be familiar to you, but it's one that I read years ago and that I refer to often and really love it. But I'm actually going to settle us in. And let me just see. Yes, happy Thursday, everybody. I'm going to settle us in. And then as I read the poem, we'll use the poem to just help calm the mind, help to begin to center the mind, and then we'll move right into the practice. So you have options for posture. You could do seated, you can do standing, you could lie down. If you're not too tired, lying down is fine. And go ahead and assume a posture, make any micro movements so that you're sitting in a way that is upright and engaged. And I like the idea of like holding yourself so that you're not too tight, but also not too loose. So it's an engaged practice. There's nothing passive about this practice. We are actually fully engaged. And keeping an eye out for what the mind is up to. So go ahead and settle your body. Your eyes can be open or closed. And if you are going to keep the eyes open, just gaze downward a little bit. And just take a moment to settle in with a spine that is straight but not stiff. Letting go of what has happened so far today and releasing anticipation of what's to come. So really collecting your attention, bringing your awareness right into the whole body. And I'm going to read the poem and ask that you, as carefully as possible, see if you can stay connected with the words. When despair for the world grows in me and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. And for a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. And so letting those words just drop in, taking a couple of deep breaths to settle any surface tension, making your exhalation a little bit longer than your inhalation. Bringing full awareness to the whole body and noticing the physical expression from your activities. So, pulsing, vibration, tingling. What are you noticing from the inside? And not watching, but actually experiencing, feeling. Noticing the points of contact with the back of the body and the surface that you're on. Notice the feeling of the clothes touching the skin. And just what does that subtle point of connection feel like? Clothes on skin or back of the body on the surface that you're on. And perhaps you're aware of the heartbeat. Maybe there are some sensations in your body that are pleasant or that are unpleasant, perhaps neither. And we're not trying to change anything, just simply receiving whatever is happening. And the attitude to bring to the practice today and always is receptive, allowing, curious. And let's move from whole body awareness to sound that may be occurring in the room or outside of the room that you're in. So widening that lens of awareness, receiving the experience of sound around you, inside or out. And allowing sound to remain as it will in the background, coming or going, or maybe there's a consistent sound, just allowing for that and bringing awareness back inward. Sound is background. And let's find an anchor for the wandering mind. And just begin to notice the pattern of your breath. It may be shallow or deep. You don't have to alter it in any way. However you're breathing is fine. So as you inhale and exhale, just begin to see where it's easiest for you to track the sensations of that breath. So inhaling and exhaling, where do you feel it from the inside? So that could be rise and fall of the belly, area around the chest, perhaps the nostrils, or the whole kind of wider lens of the body, breathing, movement, feeling again from the inside. And if breath is challenging in any way for you this morning, and that can vary from day to day, you have other options. So you could use a different body sensation, perhaps a point of contact that feels prominent and easy for your mind to track the sensations of. You could take the palms of your hands and rest them on your thighs, or you could rest your hands together. And the actual feeling of that point of connection would be where you ground your attention. Each time the mind wanders, you come back to that feeling of that. And it's also fine to open awareness Just do what's called open awareness practice and just receive the arising and passing of sound, of thought, of emotion. And each time you find that a thought has slipped in and you're in a narrative of some kind, a memory or planning, just make a soft mental note, thinking. So the culprit has been seen because thoughts slip in unnoticed. And then they become noticed. And that's a really significant moment because you are awake, you are aware, and you know it. It's a meta awareness. So when you notice the thought has slipped in, not a problem. This is, you're doing it right. Just release, make a soft mental note thinking, let your body soften and return to your anchor. So I'll be silent for the next few moments and just occasionally drop in a phrase, notice where your mind is, and release the memory, soften the body, and return. Noticing where the mind is, just letting go of that memory or planning or worry. Just soften your body and just escort your attention back to whatever anchor is helping you this morning. And again, noticing where the mind is and softening your body and returning your attention back to the anchor. And as we bring this meditation to a close, may we be peaceful and at ease. May our heart be soft and open. May we be safe and protected, and our bodies healthy and strong. And may whatever good comes of our practice be for the benefit of all beings. And so taking a moment to just return attention to the room, open the eyes if they were closed, or gaze down, looking around, just reorienting to the space that you're in. And so again, just a warm welcome. And we've got, that actually was, I think, closer to 15 minutes. So I don't know if that felt extra long or not. And feel free to put it in the chat if it seemed long, or if you didn't notice that it was a little bit longer. And so we have time for Q&A, anything at all about your practice that you're curious about, anything that came up for you just now, anything that you've come across that you want to share. So if there's a recent podcast or something that I didn't notice. Oh, did not notice. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I think we started at 8:35, so it was closer to 15 minutes. And it's not a bad thing just on your own with practice to just increase a little bit here and there. And I also just want to emphasize too, I think one of the reasons it's challenging to get on a regular disciplined schedule. I don't even like to use that word disciplined, but nothing else is coming to me right now. But to have some kind of a regular schedule is that it's really not always pleasant to sit with ourselves without distraction. So that's really, we're removing all of the things that we're typically distracted by. And so what happens is it leaves room for lots of other stuff to come up, whether it's, difficult memories or pain in the body. And this is actually a good thing and can be integrated into the practice. So if it's pain in the body, often it's pain that's there, but just we don't necessarily see it. Or, a memory, uh, allowing yourself, especially with difficult emotional states that come up, to notice the thoughts around it and then see if you can drop into the body sensations, into your body sensations. Because emotions always produce something in the body, and let your attention rest there. I like the longer, great. I noticed long for me. Yeah. And you know what? Like that is very common. And then there might be another time where somebody else is not going to notice at all, and somebody does notice who didn't this time. Had the extra 13-month-old wanting attention, which I think brought more of an opportunity. Yes, yes, yeah. This time was helpful for me to able to ease through some earlier agitated feelings. Yeah. Emotions swirling. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot about working with emotions in this practice. And I think the most helpful thing is to not resist them, but to feel the physicality of them, really like allowing and meeting with your mind and body what it is that's happening. So you can, like, oftentimes there can be a narrative loop, that just keeps going and going and going. And when you see that, you can even just name it and then drop the attention into the body. And the loop might start again. It's okay. Notice, drop back into the body. So you're fully feeling the experience of what's going on. And ultimately, I think it can also help get to the root of what's happening there. But there's a lot, it's even worth it if you want to Google mindfulness of emotions, mindfulness of difficult emotions. There's a lot of stuff out there, but often the acronym that I think is a really good one with that is RAIN. So you recognize what's happening, so because we can be lost in a narrative, and it's that phrase, lost in thought. You actually don't see it until you do. And then you see it. That's the recognition. Recognize. The A is for accept or allow. It doesn't mean accept, I love. It means it's shown up and there is going to be an allowance for it. The I is the investigation. So that's where it's like, what's physically happening here? What's the physical experience of this worry, this fear, this pain, this regret? So you're investigating by bringing awareness to the body. And the N, the N there's a few different interpretations of that, but to keep it really simple, I use the word note. And so what you can do is just note what's happening in your body, as if you were a scientist and the subject. So it would be like tingling, tight, contracted, heat, so, and you can use RAIN. Let me put that, I'll put that in here too. Whoops. Um, I think it's a really good one. And it was coined by Michelle McDonald, who's a meditation teacher. And I was on a retreat with her many, many years ago when she used that. And, it's funny on retreat because you're sitting with like 100 people and you look around the room and everybody is, either in a chair or sitting on a meditation cushion. And you might think, oh, they're all doing it well. They have no thoughts. Look how serene and peaceful they are. And that's not the case. Our minds are really busy. And we also carry our stories, our family stories, our histories. And when we remove all the things we're distracted by, it's leaving room for a lot to come up, which is good. It's not, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not as if you're doing it wrong. We're not trying to create peace and ease and relaxation, but through this practice, that is a byproduct. Now, this is different for anybody that has suffered trauma, that this would, meditation is not the first thing that I would suggest at all, and can be counterproductive. But this is just a nice tool. This RAIN acronym is the recognition of what's happening, the allowance or the acceptance that it arrived, the investigation in the body, what's the actual physical sensation. And you can use a noting method to help identify with that investigation piece. So I don't know, have folks heard of that, or was that helpful? Great. Yeah. Oh, the Wendell Berry poem. Yeah. And Tara Brach, yes, and Tara Brach, I and Michelle know each other, and Tara heard about it through Michelle and really started integrating it. Yeah, so I think it is super helpful. And the poem is The Peace of Wild Things. I'll put that in here too. So we're right at 9 o'clock, and I wish everybody, we're almost at the weekend, so happy Thursday, and wish everybody a safe, and I think we're going to have supposedly a really beautiful weekend coming up. Tara says N is for nurture. Yeah, and there's a few teachers who use the N in different ways. One of them is also non-identification, which is just not taking it personally. I love nurture too, so that's a good one. Note is also helpful because when the mind sees what it's up to, the noting helps with that clarity. But I mean, self-love and nurturance is so important. Yeah, Janice, you're welcome. Susan, you're welcome. Everybody, really good to be with you today. And I'm not sure who's teaching on Tuesday. I didn't look at the schedule, but I'll see you on Wednesday and Thursday. And stay safe and enjoy the sun. Okay. Bye, everybody.